Jack, and I'm so dyslexic. It's Firmiston, right?
Frimston, close.
Frimston,
I've been
sorry.
called a lot worse. Don't
Apologies
worry.
about that. Right, okay. So I'm glad we established that. So yeah, Jack, like you are you a director. We have a meeting.
That's all right.
Yep, director. And I look at you as almost like a general like LinkedIn sales advisor, positivity speaker, and then I think the one that I kind of like came up with in my head that made me sort of chuckle was like almost just like a cold calling master.
Okay,
And I think
I'll take that.
that was kind of what grabbed my attention of you and your content initially. Because in my business, like, and I don't know how much you know, but I own a video production business, and like everyone always says, whatever you do, you're in sales if you own your own business. And picking up the phone and calling people, I'm quite an outgoing guy, but like everyone else, we always struggle. And like your tips and the stuff that you were putting out in your content really came through, and I kind of have, if through not listening to the podcast, it's really like shown me a lot of things, and a lot of your trench tips I found have been really, really helpful. So yeah, like I love absorbing your content, but I guess that's why we're here today and to chat about exactly what makes a good post good and what your opinions are on that. So I guess the sort of first thing I want to ask you is, you have a good whack of followers and connections on LinkedIn. How do you think you've built that up today, or do you think there's been a certain way you've done it, or has it just sort of happened?
I only started using LinkedIn in January, so I'd never used it before, and I look back at my insights now of like how many times your posts have been viewed or whatever, and you look at that like that dark patch from like last October to December, and there's nothing. It's literally just ground zero. And then like you've just seen like a steady progression. Then you've seen like one fucking stupid post I did that went viral, and then it's back down, and then it's just a steady progression. And I think it is just by being consistent. And I think my mindset as well, for good or for bad, is if I kind of obsess over something, it's like, right, okay, this is something I want to learn about. I want to learn about why is that doing that, and how is that doing well. And I think I started and I wasn't getting the results, and I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to do the same thing every day, write good content 3 times a day, like breakfast, lunch and dinner. It was just like that kind of problematic. And I looked at what a lot of other people were doing, took what I liked. There's a lot of stuff on LinkedIn that I absolutely hate, and you've probably seen from some of my posts, I try and take the mickey out of it as well.
I think that's good that you do that, though.
Yeah, it's a bit satire. It's a little bit different. I think people think it's a business platform. There's no place for humour. And one of my top performing posts was when the laughing emoji come in. I was like, there is no place on LinkedIn for a laughing emoji. And the amount of hate and ridiculous comments I got, and it was like, I only do LinkedIn. It's like my business partner Zach. I only comment on certain things because I know that if he sees it, it'll make him laugh. So it's just like it's very just self-indulgent for me and for him, but it's kind of like I found this little tribe of people that work in sales or not, maybe not even sales, but they relate to the posts and they find it funny. And I'll be honest, it's when I started posting, I think maybe a week in, I did one post that started doing all right. And I think off the back of that post, I got 5 people message me saying, can we have a meeting about your service? And I was like, oh, right. So there's not only a lot of people post and it's just for like self-indulgence. So many likes and stuff like that. I don't really give a shit about any of that. It's like someone that's building a business. If you can position yourself in the market as like whatever you are, so you're the video production guy. You want to know that you're the video production guy. So we cold call people and we want to find people that have the problems. We're prospecting. Have you got this problem? No. Do you think you'll ever have this problem? No. But what you want to do is where LinkedIn comes in. So we go out actively and search. But when we build an audience and they go, I've got this problem now, the first person they think of is that's the guy to speak to. So then they come to you. And I've received so many inbound inquiries that have helped grow the business dramatically. And it's like, well, yeah, there's a huge network out there of people. And it's like mental that you can just connect with people. And you can drop like the CEO of Kellogg's a message. In what world would that be normal that you could just walk up to him in a bar and say something? Yeah, you probably only get a couple of shots to go at it, but it's an amazing platform.
It's so true. Like I'm not long using it as well, and obviously I was always an Instagram user. I think pretty much everyone uses Instagram now, but the difference between LinkedIn and Instagram is literally that. It's the fact that you can go and find the company and you can just go and find the top dog, and then if you want to take a stab at it, you can go and try and message them if they connect with you. But yeah, it kind of blew me away, and that whole the whole way it works, and yeah, it is really, really cool. And you kind of touched on before, when you look back, I think it was at the very start, you said you look back at the times when you used to post and you kind of like looked at the insights. Like, do you rely heavily on the insights? Are they things that you check out, and do you think that helps you grow more?
Yeah, I think it's just, am I being consistent? Have I had a dip this week? Okay, why? Okay, I've not really been commenting, or I've not really been, or actually I've been recycling the same old shit that I was posting in February. Right, okay, maybe I need to put some more time and effort into the content I'm writing. And it's like usually on a Sunday night I'll assess it. It's not like I'm sat there refreshing like, bloody hell, I've had this many likes or whatever. But it's a case of like, right, okay, I like sales, like anything. It's like I look at it quite scientifically, and it's like, right, okay, what makes a good post? So it's like, okay, I need a clickbait, I need a this, there's your value, this is what people are going to comment on, this is what might ruffle a few feathers. It's like a lot of the stuff, if you got me in a pub and we were talking about it, and you were like, how do you feel about email marketing? I don't really give two shits. Yeah, it works, it's good. But my persona on LinkedIn is actually, screw email marketing, blah, 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 that doesn't, like, because it's like, and it's probably, I don't want to go down the route of like the Piers Morgan, it's a bit opinionated, but it's like, what is going to get the engagement? And engagement gets you viewed, and then when you're viewed, people see what you do, and they'll either buy into it and get in contact, or they might buy into it and they've nurtured. And it's very kind of quite a straightforward approach of why I'm doing it. Like, there's a method behind the madness. I'm not just like posting nonsense like a madman rambling in the rain. I like to think,
of course, like, yeah, and like I think when people grow, the best thing you can do is make it look like it's methodless, even though there's a lot of intent and a lot of method behind that. And I think that's what you do very well, or in my opinion, is what you do well. And you kind of said there, you touched on certain things like have a bit of clickbait, or like those types of elements in a post. Like, do you think there's a certain like elements that you are like, a post must have this, like, I don't know, must it be thought-provoking, must it cause controversy, or be a certain length, or are there certain elements that you think, right, in most posts, I have to have these?
So I've got like values in life, and I think I try to apply them to content as well. So it falls down to, is this post to entertain? Is this post to inspire and motivate? Or is this post to educate and teach? So they're like your three. They're the three. Here's something about death that might make you might read it on a Monday morning and think, fuck, I'm gonna go for it today. Or this one's just to get a bit of a belly laugh. Or this one's something actually a bit educational, and it might help people that are cold calling or getting into sales for the first time. Some of the best posts I've done are a combination of all three, but really
hard thing to hit when you hit all three. So if you're doing well, I think.
Yeah, but they're kind of the three. So it's like, right, okay, well, I want to talk about, do you know what I mean, why people should be in cold calling and why they shouldn't be doing it. So I'm going to do this, but the way I'm going to frame it is, what's a good way to frame it? I'm not just going to post a lot of people post on LinkedIn, and really they're posting for themselves. Well, if you think, what are my audience? What do they like to read? How would they read it? And really, people forget, but humor is like humor and storytelling are some of the biggest drivers in like building relationships and stuff like that. So if you can make someone laugh, well, then they're more likely to, do you know what I mean? With your group of friends. Yeah, your group of friends, my group of friends, they're my friends because they make me piss myself. And it's like, that's what your own tribe. You want to be around people that make you feel good, either inspire you, help you learn, and make you laugh.
Yeah, I always find like when I'm creating videos, if you can tell a story well and you can make people laugh, you just instantly become relatable. Totally. And like I said, people do sort of open up, and that is kind of what you want when you're selling something to them, and you want them to feel as natural as possible. And I guess laughter is the key to that.
1,000,000%. And I think I've met a lot of people on business meetings or like through networking and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't expect you to be switched on. I thought you were a bit of an idiot." It's like, that's like the persona.
Thanks.
No, well, yeah, I'll take that. And it's like, well, of course, like a lot of the stuff I post is just stupid nonsense. But like I said, there's a method to the madness, and I like to think there's a bit of intelligence behind it, and
Yeah.
if I'm doing the right things and I can get the right response, then I don't really care what people think. It's helping me grow and get the business in.
Of course, dude. Like, do you think there's any tips? Like, I know a lot of people struggle, or I used to, and I'm trying to turn it around more. And I guess that's why I'm doing this little mini series, speaking to people like yourself. For little things, like, do you think there's any tips on posting regularly? Like, do you have any, like, I don't know, like alarms or like apps that you use that, like, or do you just kind of rely on your own and gumption to say, right, I'm going to post today and it is going to happen this morning? Or
I just got into a habit, and it's like a non-negotiable, like in the same way that the team come in at 9 o'clock every day, 9 o'clock on the dot, you pick up the phones and you start in dialing. That's like a non-negotiable. That's part of the job. Part of my job, and the little rule I've set myself is, it's like when I'm getting back from the gym at 7:30, that's usually I get to the gate in my car and it's like, right, okay, as the gate's opening, I'll do my first post 7:30. Then we all go for lunch, and I've got them on like a Word document. I'll do like LinkedIn for September or August or whatever, and I'll just go down the list and I'll be like, right, okay, I did something inspirational today. I'm going to do something a little bit stupid for lunch, and bang, put that in, and you just create them. And then it's like at the end of the day. So it's like there are 3 times where I'm aware. It's like, it's not 2 o'clock in the afternoon where I might go into a business meeting. It's like lunchtime when the day's over, and first thing in the morning. So it's like my brain's now in that habit. If you get into the habit of, I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is go to the gym, well then that becomes a non-negotiable. It's the same way, and it's 66 days to start a habit, I think they say, and it's I've been doing this for 9 months straight, so now it's easy. There's never a part of me that goes, well, there are days where I look at it and I think that's naff, but it's like, well, okay, I'm going to post it. I'm not relying on the outcome. There's no, like with sales as well, my approach to life is I'm not attached to the outcome. If I post something and it gets 2 likes, big deal. It's not like an Instagram feed where people are going down. It's like, it's there, it might do something, it doesn't, big deal. The post I did that went viral, I didn't think anything of it. Switched my phone on and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? Why am I getting all these messages and all this hate comments and stuff like that? But like, you just got to trial with it a million times, make so many posts, and then something might work.
it's so funny that you say that, because I've actually just came out of a meeting with a client there, and he was kind of like almost hinting at, basically saying to me like, I want you to create me something for TikTok that's going to go viral. And you've just said there, like, I wouldn't ever say I have. I had a video go pretty big once, and you never know what's going to happen. You never plan for it to happen. And the best ones, in my eyes, aren't planned. It just happens, and you somehow coincidentally just hit a nerve or tick a box with everyone, and it just kind of blows up, right?
Totally. But then the scientific approach to that is, I'd go, right, okay, that piece of content did well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move that around. I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to shift the pattern interrupt or the clickbait, and I'm going to do that. A month later, I'm going to post it. And I've done that before, where it's like done all right, and I'm like, that's doing all right. Redo it, and then it goes through the roof, and it's like, right, okay, I'm onto it. That type of post does well. What is it doing? Well, it's probably relating with people because of this or this, and it's ticking boxes, and it's like, that's what,
of course,
that's what content creators do.
And I guess you're just saying, right, this worked, reverse engineer that, take it all to bits, work out the bits that banged, and then putting them sort of like genetically modifying them with other posts, and then you almost like perfect the process. Yeah,
and we do the same with sales pitches. So we bring on a new client, we'll try something. It's like, that's working, but not for these kind of people. Okay, A/B test it. Let's try that tomorrow. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
By the end of a 4-day trial, you've got a pitch that's. I remember one of our biggest clients. The first pitch I did, no meetings, awful day. I went home and I went, why have we not secured this? So I was like, right, okay, go over that, move that around, blah blah blah. Came in the next day, it worked, and it's like, right, okay. It's just process, trial and error, like anything in life. Keep going until you get it right.
Yeah, of course, man. I think you sort of answered this question before, but in terms of longevity and I don't know how to put this best, getting the largest amount of interaction in the long run, do you think it's best to try and please the algorithm or please your audience?
Well, it's a good question. Going viral, if we look at that, it actually did nothing for me in terms of like real business, like in terms of like that post got a couple of people interested, but it didn't really align with my audience. It was something silly, which got me a load of followers, but maybe not the right kind of followers. I think being consistent and like proving to your audience. There's a famous book like 1,000 True Fans, where actually you don't need to have an army of 500,000 followers, because what does it mean? All of them are dead accounts, and really you'll only get 1% engagement anyway. But if you've got 10,000 and actually you've got like 1,000 of them are loyal and they'll follow you or whatever, and they'll engage, and you release a book and they buy it, and then you release another book, and it's like, well, that's kind of more valuable than just numbers. Means nothing. Numbers means shit, really, in the long game. So I think there's something in it. Obviously, you want to work to the algorithm, you want to do well. But if I have this idea, and it's stupid and it's mad, and I don't think I could do it. But maybe one day when I've sold the business and I can spend all my days on LinkedIn being a pain in the arse, is creating a persona and spending all my time doing the posts that I know would do well. They don't really fit my brand. Like, you'll never see me post a selfie and say like things that motivate me. Like that's the stuff that works to the algorithm. I know it would do well. Well, I don't know if people see my face, they might not click like on it. But
it's quite interesting that you say that. That you'd quite like to branch off and do that, because I think there's a lot of business owners find that they can't post it because it's not in line with their business's brand.
I wouldn't even say it's in line with the business's brand. I would say it's not in line with my values, and my kind of like. I don't post on Instagram. I don't use Facebook. Like, I don't really like social media. I've got them all, and I kind of keep an eye on things, but I'm not like a regular. Every now and then there might be a post that goes on to show my auntie in Benidorm what I'm up to, but I'm not really about that kind of like validation from social media. But I think like if you were to set up a fake person, it's like I know what would work to kind of get to kick that algorithm, because I've studied it so much. But really, like my personal brand of what I am, if I started, do you know what I mean? If I started doing that, people would be like, who is this? I thought he was the guy that gave cold calling advice and he was a bit funny. And now he's posting selfies, and it's like, who is he? Like, if I was to do that,
it's sort of confusing, right?
Yeah, and it just doesn't really. You kind of portray yourself in. Everyone's got a real version of who they are and a social media version of who they are, and that's kind of like my social media presence or whatever it is on LinkedIn. But I just don't think it'd fit me, and it works for people. And I could really like. You could ramp it up, and you could say some nonsense about. I only wear flip-flops in the office because, God, I want to be closer to the ground, or whatever, and people would lap it up, and it's like, I'm not posting a photo of me in flip-flops in the office. I just think it's wanky.
Yeah, fair enough. I get that. So, similar question to the above. When it comes to posting, do you believe in quality or quantity?
Both. I'm probably not answering any of your questions.
That's such an easy answer.
Well, you can post loads of shit, and it's good, but it's like if you post decent posts on a consistent basis, that's it. I've toyed with the idea, like I set an idea in my head. The game that I wanted to do was I wanted to get 1 million engagements. I was like, that's the target for the year. I think I hit that by like March. Like in terms of engagement now, like if you look at the stats, it's like 9 mil, which is, like I said, it's numbers. They actually mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. But a lot of businesses come from that, so that's kind of why I bring it up. But then it's like that's from posting on a regular basis and just being seen. It's that kind of thing. If you go to the pub and there's always this one guy that's selling DVDs, you know that when you want to go and buy the next cheaper by the dozen 2, you go to that pub and he's going to be there because you become that guy. I just think
my old local had one of those.
That was my dad. But I think if you're consistent with it and your quantity is there, as long as you're writing things that people relate to, the quantity doesn't have to be amazing. There's like a middle ground as long as you're consistent with it, but it can't be shit. It can't be lazy. It can't just be like weak, because people will see through that as well. People aren't idiots.
I look back at some of my old posts and it's so screamingly obvious where I was just being lazy. And then you look at, like you said, you look at the insights and you're like, well, this is why. Like the insights are dog shit, and that's coming through.
Totally. The The first post before I joined the company in January was like, I'm joining this company and we do new business. If you want to use an outbound agency, get in touch. Nobody got in touch. Of course they fucking. Why would they?
Shockingly.
And I see it all the time. I'm a recruitment agent. We've got this job. Get in touch. No one's going to get in touch. That's not
It's
how
not
it
providing
works.
value to anyone.
No, exactly. So give, and then like with abundancy, people it will always come back to you.
Yeah, I spoke to like someone. It's almost like a business mentor of mine recently, and I was chatting to him about trying to give a little bit more away online. Obviously, trying to give this provide value, and he was like, "Whoa, it's very traditional." He was like, "You should be charging for that," and it was just a hard sell even to him. But I was like, I've got this strong gut feeling that I think it will work, and like since I've started doing it, it's kind of like nothing materials came out of it yet, but a lot more conversations have been started, and it's just good signs. So I'm gonna keep at it.
I totally agree. It's like, and what is the harm? It's like there's no reason. Like, give all the advice away. It's like we tell people how to do cold calls. I'll walk you through how to do it now, but people still try it and go, oh, it's not working. Yeah,
100%. I don't want to do that. I can't be bothered, or I don't have the time. Yeah,
and that's when they come and use you. Like you get them to a point. It's but give value always. Like to do what you can do to help others, and the amount of recommendations we get and referrals, the amount of referrals we get from people that haven't used us. Yeah. Oh, you want to speak to these guys? You don't know if we're good. You just see me post on LinkedIn. You don't know if we're any good at cold calling or not. You've just seen us say that we're good. And I think obviously like people see when they have a conversation with us and they see the growth of the company, hopefully that speaks numbers. Like we've not had any investment. It's all been bootstrapped. So we must be doing something right. But that's like the highest compliment. Like you don't know me. We've never spoke. We've never met. But you'll still recommend me. So like something's working. So I trust the system.
Yeah, you must be doing something right along the line. It's just quite funny that you say that. I went to an old school in-person marketing event recently, and I was like, I used to go to them like only looking for business, and whenever I was speaking to someone, I'd kind of be thinking like, oh, how can I ask them? Do you need a video made? And then I just went to a one recently, and I was like, all I'm going to do is I'm going to tell people what I would do if I was them. And I was like, look, if you're making a video for Instagram, you should make a portrait if it's going on Reels, blah, blah, because it'll help you. And the amount of feedback and the amount of positive like outreach I got back off that compared to my old technique was just absolutely mind-blowing.
You say so much more by the questions you ask rather than the information you give. So it's like, how do you tell somebody? You can't go into a room and hey guys, listen, I'm a really good listener. You can't tell people you're a really good listener. So you can't go in there and tell them that you're a really good videographer. So what do? So you ask questions about what they're currently doing, you give them advice, and they turn around and be like, oh, so what do you do? Oh, this is what I do for a living. Oh, brilliant. No hard sale. This isn't the way people sell anymore, getting people to say yes 7 times or whatever bullshit. It's like, give that value, and people are like, and we, maybe sometimes to our demise, it's like we sometimes will give so much free value on a call that they don't become our client. But it's like, okay, what did you like to talk me through? What happened when you went to your current clients and asked for referrals? Oh, I haven't done that yet. Why not? Oh, I don't know. I go and do that. And because really, like, if they're in a point, like they're not in a point where they need us, go and do that. And if you're still at your wit's end, then come back to us, and then that's where the kind of the reward will come in.
I guess that's that whole 2 ears, 1 mouth thing, and that's how you're gonna weed out. Because you could have worked with that client, you could have like almost forced the relationship into a working scenario, but from what I've learned, it doesn't make the best working. Whereas if they come back when they really need you, and I think the whole process and the whole relationship just goes a lot more smoothly from then on.
Totally. We have, as a business, we've turned so much business away because it's not relevant. It's not, we're trying to make sales ethical. So when you meet someone in a pub and they say, what do you do? You don't have to say, oh, I'm a customer support manager or an account manager or whatever. You can just say, oh, I work in sales without feeling like a piece of shit. But it's that kind of thing. It's like, I've turned people, like there was a client that I spoke to, a prospect, and we had I cold called him. He got back in touch. We had a meeting. And by the end of the call, he was like, right, set me up a referral call and we'll go from there. I said, I don't think you need us. I don't think you really want to work with us. No, I am interested. I was just like, my gut is telling me that you're not like, you don't really believe in us, which is fine. Like, I'm just a bloke on a Zoom call. You don't have to believe in us. But actually, one of our values is, if they don't believe in us, don't work with people like that. So it's like, I don't feel like you're convinced, and that's fine. So I don't feel comfortable setting you up with referrals at this point. Spend the weekend, think about it, and if you are confident that you do want to do that and move forward, get back in touch. They didn't get back in touch, but what would have happened is I would have ran around, sent them a big proposal, set them up on referral calls with all my current clients, and then they would have come back after that and probably said no anyway, because in their head there was something, they were doubting it, or they probably never would have attended those referral calls. And that's a lot of time, and it's just trusting your gut to be like, actually, why am I wasting my time? I don't think I can help you because you don't want to be helped, or your expectations are too high and it's going to lead sour, and then it might be bad for business in the long run. So I think that's, I know we're kind of digressing from the point, but that's kind of a big bit of what we do.
Yeah, for sure. To bring it a little bit more back to the point then, and again, from speaking to you so far, definitely think you've answered this, but I want to hear it sort of in your words. Building your brand and building your business, how key has posting, especially posting as consistently, been for that?
It's been one of the biggest motivator, like biggest growth in terms of, it's great for bringing in new leads, but also like if I'm cold calling, I still cold call on a regular basis, and I'm on like a new client hunt, I'll have a good conversation. They're somebody that may be in pain in the future, but it's not really on their radar. Okay, cool. I'll add you on LinkedIn. I say, I'm not going to send you an email because I think it's a waste of time. Well, I send you an email telling you our rates and what we do. You know that. I can tell you that now.
Yeah.
I'll add you on LinkedIn. And what that is that's a little nurturing file. I'll put you in there. I post a lot of nonsense. You'll see me all the time. And then I'm like, they're freshly added. They'll see what I post. They'll remember it. Maybe they'll engage. And 2 months down the line, when they need us, I'm there. Yeah. Or they'll think he posts a load of shit, I don't want to use him. And they probably would never have used us anyway. So it's that kind of thing of going down the line of like, it's great for like outreach and like bringing in inbound leads and stuff like that. But also from like a front of like showing them what you do. And we've had people that have been thinking about using us. And then 3 months later, they've come back and gone, I've been listening to your podcast. I actually know that you know what you're talking about now. I feel like I'm bought into you a bit more. I'm ready to go. And it's, you don't have to, this whole sell thing, you don't have to sell, because you're selling by showing what you do, and you're talking about your knowledge, and you're giving that away for free, and you're entertaining in whatever world that is. Yeah,
so it's not only been outreach for you guys, it's literally proved you guys as thought leaders and even industry leaders, and like the guys who people have no other option at some point or other, once they've seen yourself, to be like, right, I 100% have to go with these guys. And you've also you sound like you've used it to like filter clients in or out.
Yeah,
and so you're sort of like attacking it from all angles. Like I'm pretty impressed.
I think I like to think so, and it's like LinkedIn is brilliant. My business partner will probably say I'm a bit too maybe addicted to it, and it's, you hear that little buzz of it, and you hear someone.
It can happen very easily.
Yeah, no, but social media is designed to do that, and kind of that little release of dopamine. I'm not an idiot to it. I understand why people spend hours and hours scrolling TikTok, because it's addictive, and the same with LinkedIn. But I really just think now, and I need to be better, but I'll just post something and I'll leave it, and everyone's like, no, you need to reply to all the comments. I'm like, I get that, but also it's content. There's the piece. Does it make you laugh? I don't really care if you engage or like it or whatever. If you saw it and you found it funny, or it entertained you, or it helped you, or inspired you, great, job done.
I also think, like, to the level that you're posting and the amount of people who are applying, you don't even have to reply, because other people are applying to almost for you, and then there's conversations getting started, and then there's almost like a little sub-community getting created, and it's not as though just from you not replying, everyone's missing out.
No, totally. And it's like, you start to see it, it's like, it's so weird. It's like top trumps or something, but there's this like little tribe that are always there, and I feel like I know them. And like I'll be talking to people, and I'm like, "Oh, do you know this person off LinkedIn?" And they're like, "No." And you forget in the real world they're not anybody, like not anybody. But do you know what I mean? It's like, but I know them, and it's like, oh yeah, of course that's not real life. But it's just and it's great. Like we've met a lot of people from LinkedIn that have come to our events or become clients, or have even like come for interviews and stuff like that. And we've worked with, we paid them for their service, and it's like, it's great. You like find the right people, and it's a network. So now, as we grow the business, referrals are key. So people are referring us, and it's like, oh, people say to me, oh, I need a marketing agency. Well, we work with some, so there's 3 that you could work with, and there's another 3 that we know, and it's people that you trust.
Yeah, it literally is a network, and it's just a tool to be used and sometimes abused, but we'll not get into that. So getting close to the end, mate, don't worry. So in terms of using social media and LinkedIn and posting this much, and as you said, you've only been using it since January, bit of a sloppy question, but do you think it's made you happier in the long run, or has it just been a means to an end in growing your business?
Can I say both again?
You can. You need to explain, though.
Has it made me happy? I don't.
Or happier.
Happier. I don't think you can rely on social media to make you happier. I think I've connected with people that I would never have connected with. I think it's helped grow the business, and by growing the business, I get to inspire, 10 real life people in an office every single day. And that's kind of made me happier. That's like one of my values in life, is to kind of, I've had so many twat bosses in sales, and it's like, they probably say I'm a bit of a bastard sometimes or whatever, but I like to think like they're an incredible team, and if I can inspire and motivate them and help them and guide them, and these are the things that we're doing at the moment, getting them better, and it's like we've created this little army. So one of our staff there was a train strike, and he got stuck in London, and he said, I don't know if I'll be able to make it back. What should I do? I said, well, I'm not your dad, first of all, so I don't know what you want me to do. He was like, but I don't know where I'm going to stay, and I can't go back home, and I can't afford a hotel. I said, right, okay, well, I'll use my system. I'll give you the mobile number of the head of Southwest Trains or whatever it is. Fantastic. And because of the skills we've taught him of like being a bit cheeky and asking thing and using reverse psychology and all these things, he managed to blag a free hotel room in a big old suite.
Fantastic.
And they weren't doing that for anyone else in the train station. But it's like, if you can give these people these skills that make them more confident, that they can talk to people, or they can, let's face it, like, I'd love to say that all these staff that we've got now are going to be with us for the next 10 years on this journey. It's sales. They're probably not going to be. The retention rates are high. We've not lost anyone yet, so fingers. Good. I mean, we've only been going 6 months since we started hiring, but I like to think that we're doing the right things, and if they're here and they can leave us better than when they left, and they can go on into the world, and they've got a set of skills that actually they go into another job and they're going, right, okay, here's the features and benefits of the company to get on the phone. They know what they're doing. So I think, has social media made me happier? I think let's put it this way. So I think, does money make you happy? No. Like, what is money? Money's like made up. It's just a piece of paper that they're going to put someone new's face on it in a couple of weeks. Money is like not a thing. But what does money do? Money gives you freedom, and freedom allows you to do the things you love, which makes you happier. LinkedIn and social media hasn't made me happier, but it's allowed me to grow a business, which allows me to do the things that I want to do in life, which makes me happier. But I guess, I try to be content with what and do the gratitude thing, and just be content with what I got. And I'm as happy now as I was when it was just me in a phone booth cold calling. But it's great that I get to do the things I love on a daily basis.
That's fantastic, man. That second part of that answer was bang on.
Thank you.
You nailed that. Okay, so last one, and sort of round it off. If there was anyone out there, whether they were like a single person social media user, they were trying to grow their business, do you have any key bits of advice for them on how to just create better content in general and sort of increase their interaction?
You've got to be consistent. You've got to commit to it, and it like anything in life, you've got to put the graft in, and you can't just give up. You've got to start. The amount of people that think about doing it or say they're going to do it, post 3 times and then don't start, and then or stop or whatever for whatever reason. It's very easy. Would I have been this confident to post when I was working in a company? Probably not. So the freedom of being my own boss is like, who's going to not tell me off, but who's going to take the piss? The staff? Well, cool, that's fine. They know I'm a bit of a wally anyway. My business partner, he does the exact same stuff. We've got the same sense of humour. So it's like, I know that a lot of my old like my old colleagues might see it and be like, oh, who did you think he is now posted on LinkedIn? I don't really care. I have that nonchalant. And I think like pick a thing, be that person. It doesn't even have to be that you're the cold caller or whatever. Like I talk a lot about death, which is like
right. I was going to ask you about that. Is there a reason for that? Is it to break the cycle? Or,
in terms of what?
I don't know. I've heard you guys chat in the podcast about like you almost like shock people just by talking about something totally off the wall, and that's kind of almost what I thought it was because of. But I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, it's not, but it's a good point. It is a strong pattern interrupt to talk about that.
Pattern interrupt there.
Yeah, so I spend a lot of time like reading. I think it's like such a great subject. It's something people don't want to talk about. So if you can make it funny, inspiring, or educate on it, then I think it's there. But also, I was just like, so it's something I love talking about. And my watch, someone thought it was Photoshop, but it says "Remember You Will Die" on it, the handle.
I saw that post. Yeah,
and it's real. People thought like I'd drawn it on or whatever, but it's like my philosophy in life is that. So it's something I relate to a lot anyway. But then also with the whole death thing is like no one's speaking about it. Like no one's like talking about. Everyone's doing the whole gratitude, breath work, whatever. Like they talk about these things. They're like the common things when it comes to mindset. But a huge one is memento mori and like the stoicism, but no one's talking about it. So I was like, okay, what if I'm the guy that talks about sales and death? Like, what's my personal brand? That's what I like to talk about anyway. It's not something I kind of dribble into every single conversation, but that's something I like to talk about. And then I was just like, oh, I'm onto something. Like people are remembering me as the guy that talked about sales and death. And I was just like, there's something in this, and it's just pushing. And now I see like someone will do a post on death, and other people will tag me and be like, "Oh, your personal brand's catching on," and it's
You're
like
the death guy.
I didn't invent death. You remember that? Like, and people have been saying, "Remember you'll die" for thousands of years.
Yeah, memento mori is like a
exactly. But maybe it's a resurgence, and like maybe it's something that like I love it, and I could write books on it, and I could talk on it, and it's something like, and it's like having that thing. It's like, what's your thing? What are you inspired about, and what can you inspire other people about? And if I can use that and kind of have fun with it in the same time, maybe there's a bit of an outlet there. So it's weird when people say it out loud, "You're the deaf guy," and I'm like, I'm not. I'm not deaf, and they're like, "No, deaf," and I'm like, oh, right, okay.
Maybe it's like when you're like, what? They're like, oh no, you are the deaf guy.
You are the deaf guy.
Right, sorry. So to bring us back, because I put us on a tangent there. You talked about consistency. Have you got any other sort of like advice? Or because consistency is a big one. If somebody wants to be successful, is it like? Do you think originality or?
Originality is bullshit, because how can you be original in 2022? Everything's been done. Everything's been done. Everything I say is, I'm sure Marcus Aurelius has already said. Like, so am I being original? No. Having your own tone of voice and the way that you portray it, that's the same thing. All of these guys, Mark Manson, who wrote The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, right? Big orange book,
Great
very
book.
bold. Not giving a fuck. Read that and then read some of the parables from Buddhism and tell me it's not the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay. And then if you study all of Buddhism and then you go, well, I guess they've copied this in Christianity and Judaism and Islam and all these different things. There's nothing original. Everything is a remix. And we say this all the time. It's like people go, I love that pattern interrupt you use. I go, I didn't invent it. I heard it off Benjamin Dennehy. And Benjamin Dennehy was trained by Marcus Kalki. And Marcus Kalki was trained by Sandler, and Sandler was doing it before him. Someone like, you can trace these things back. So actually, someone in the 1930s was using a pattern interrupt by just turning up at someone's office. But now we say you're probably going to hate me, and it's a sales call. And people like we promoted it, and people in the States use it, and they go, we love those. We have a meeting, guys. Pattern interrupt in their sales pack. I'm never going to sit. And if you ask Benjamin, like stoic questioning, that's all he does. Like it's been around for years and years and years, but he's got a great brand. He's got a good voice, and we want to listen to him because we like him and the way that he says it. So don't worry about being original. Just make sure that you're not like given the same bullshit, dribble, whatever, put it in your tone of voice. And I think people that struggle, find somebody that you like and work out what's working for them and study them and take their post apart and copy it and find a formula. That's all it is. There's a great guy, I can't remember what his name is, but he talks all about the formula of hooks and stuff like that. It's any social media post is a formula, and TikTok videos, I bet, are the same as LinkedIn. Clickbait, we're going to tell you in the end, here's a little bit, like, you'll be familiar with that, and it's the same thing on LinkedIn, and then hit them with something powerful.
Yeah, man, it's just like there's pretty much 80 or 90% that's the same across all platforms, and then that 10 or 20% that just differs because of that specific platform, or the algorithm's a little bit different. But like the majority of the time, the way you grab people's attention is pretty much the same, and it's been getting done for hundreds, if not thousands of years, just not in video content.
The art of storytelling is like, do you know what I mean? Start at the end.
Yeah.
I wonder how you got there. Bang, here's the story. It's just basic, and it's like, so originality, don't worry about it. And also probably another bit of advice to answer your question is like motivation. You can't rely on motivation. Right, I'm motivated. This month I'm going to do it. You can't rely. Motivation will fade, and the same with anything you do in life.
Yeah.
Focus on the action of actually this time. Just one post today. Just one post today. Or start with one a week. Every Friday at 4 o'clock I do a post. Get into the habit. All right, every day at 4 o'clock. All right, every day this time. And before you know it, you've got a habit, and you're kind of living the dream.
Yeah, I heard a thing recently. It was actually a fitness guy posted it. And it was like, when you can't be motivated, stay consistent, because consistency will take you through the periods when you're not motivated. And I was like, it's so true, and it applies to so many things in life. Yeah,
I think the things I'm talking about now, what makes a good post, is actually a lot of it is true of anything. You want to get good at something, they're the rules. They're the things to do.
Yeah, consistency, just turn up every day, and hard work,
Yeah, and you'll see it. It's like make a 1% increase every day in what you do. Like there's a story about if you get a boat that's heading for the USA and you move it an inch and send it forward, it'll end up in Japan or something like that.
Right.
So all you have to do is progressional, like a little bit of progress every day in the right direction. Did you see that? That little LinkedIn noise went off and my eyes lit up. Move one pebble every day. You can't move mountains. Just do it step by step by step. And I think a lot of people struggle with the bigger picture. And it's like, I'm not posting now like to get a million likes. I'm thinking if I grow a brand over the next 5-10 years, then maybe I'll be able to go and do a TED talk or write a book, and I can live off the riches of that or whatever. It's like, it's not going to come straight away, but if I don't start now, in 5-10 years I won't be there. No, and you can't. It's all these overnight sensations. No one's an overnight sensation. I mean, everyone's been playing in bars and clubs up and down the bar, unless you go on X Factor, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, like you're so right, and I think the way that the internet's so polarized now, and because it's so polarized, people are like, why aren't I instantly famous? And like, well, that guy is instantly famous, and he's like, yeah, but he didn't tell you about all the hours and the sleepless nights and the years of work. But like, it just, everyone thinks everyone's instantly famous. Yeah,
so just have a big old goal, unrealistic thinking, get as unrealistic as you can. I want to get there, and set a path and break it down every step of the way. What do I need to do to get there? Okay, well, the smallest step I can do is just making a LinkedIn post. Cool, do it. And then before you know it, you might be getting offered book deals. You might be, do you know what I mean, going and doing keynote speeches. But you've got to do the little things first. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you're trying to build an audience. How can someone trust you to go and perform in front of 20,000 speaking if that's what somebody wants to do? If you can't even engage an audience of... It's brilliant, and it's free. It's like you can literally go and build an audience, and it's free. It's completely free. And it's my favorite social media platform because it's not based on shiny graphics or effects or being gorgeous, although we know that helps on LinkedIn. But it can be words. Words are so fucking powerful. And I
think blogs actually have a lot of weight in the algorithm these days. And I think they actually, if you can hook someone with a blog, it goes so far.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. So it's just remember, I don't think, I know there's Reddit and stuff like that, but a lot of them use visuals, and people use visuals on LinkedIn, but you'll see a lot of my posts I don't use a visual with, and then people say, "Oh, but posts with videos or pictures perform better." I'm sure they do, but remember, just because one person says this is the way they do it, that's not the way that everyone has to do it. So if you catch me posting a selfie soon, it means I've given in to my own advice.
I think that's a pretty sound bit of advice to finish on as well. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Jack. I really, really, really appreciate your time. I know you're a pretty busy guy.